Hello and welcome to Good Games Well Played, episode 215. I'm Clint, aka JCM. With us this week is Isley.
You.
He's
I had
Isley
to
is
run out of the room to stop to get away from the bacon.
you. This guy knew we were starting. I still got that bacon sound. Hopefully, we'll see if it won't be able
It
to get
needed
cleaned
it
out in
needed
the
to be flipped. It needed to be flipped. It was at a critical juncture.
Okay, no worries, no worries. And Messiah.
Hi.
And yeah, here we are. There's kind of a quiet week. THQ had a showcase this week, but there wasn't a huge bit that came out of it. Bunch of games none of us play. Uh, you know, Rec Recreation's the game they announced. It's like a car racing destruction derby type game. Some other stuff. The Gothic remake. They showed off another trailer for that. But they announced Darksiders 4, which kind of surprised me because that's like a franchise that's I'm surprised has been around for as long as it has because I feel like it definitely has, like, a cult following, like, it's a cult classic kinda game,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
and I was like, "Wow, I guess they're making a 4th one, okay, if you're, a fan of the franchise, go for it." But, that kinda surprised me, but other than that, not too much from their showcase. And then I also did see that apparently Nintendo announced, that the Switch 2 has sold more than, 6,000,000 units in the 7 weeks since its launch, which is they're saying demand has surpassed their expectation, which is like, okay, if you have enough in production, people are buying them. It's like, I get it. It's just I'm surprised considering they only had the Mario Kart game at launch, and then they just had the Donkey Kong game launch a couple weeks ago. Now they do have, obviously, like with the PS5 or any generation of PlayStation or Xbox console recently, where it's like, oh, you can play better versions of these old games. And
Mhm.
there's a lot of people who dropped off. We talked about before. A lot of people who dropped off, Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild, who never beat it because they ran around doing all the side shit. And it's like, oh, now I can play it and have it look better and run better on the new console. I'll just buy it for that because you're like, okay, I'm going to get whatever they release, and then I can play all these older games with better graphics and what have you. And it's like that's kind of what I end up doing with, PlayStations when they come out with a new one. It's like, oh, they got the better version of it of an old game I like, or go back and play it or something like that, or a game I missed and then go back and give it a shot. So, but it's doing well. Although they did announce that they are increasing the price of the original Switch in the US.
Mhm.
Uh,
And a lot of their accessories and stuff too, but I don't think they specified what they're raising prices on, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like controllers and Joy-Cons.
Yeah, so the Nintendo Switch is going up to I'm just gonna round it. It's going from 300 to 340. This went into effect 2 days ago, so August 1st. And then the Switch OLED went from 350 to 400. The Switch Lite went from 200 to 230, and then the Nintendo Switch clock or sound clock Alarmo went up $10, and then the Joy-Con 2 controllers went from 95 to 100. And now there was, like, a bunch of tariffs that
I
were supposed to go live
is
for
this
regions everywhere.
is this in addition to I know that they talked a while before about not raising the price on the consoles. This is when like tariffs were first coming out and just raising the price on accessories. Is this in addition to that or in place of that?
I think this is new, like, because of the tariffs that the administration
Perfect.
put on top of it was like what they do, they hit, like, Taiwan, like, a bunch of these, countries that are sub-manufacturers of a lot of these components that go into this product, so it's not like, "Oh, we're just putting a tariff on China or something." It's like we're putting a tariff on all these other places that also manufacture these pieces that go into the console, so, like, you still have to pay the tariffs on all those country of origin part. So it's like, okay, well then we're just gonna have to raise the price on this console. Just in prep, like you can't wait for it to hit. It's like everything that gets imported is going to, typically it's when it's if it leaves last time tariffs went live, as long as they left the country that the tariff was applied to and was in transit before the tariff went live, the tariff didn't apply because the departure date was before the go live. I know that because I work in a company that has a lot of stuff manufactured in China, and that's how it happened for us when we were dealing with the tariffs back in April, March timeframe. So it's like, yeah, we're just going to raise the price here for this console. Now they didn't put it on the Switch 2, so I'm curious when they're going to do that. But I mean, we'll see. But that's some of those pretty significant price jumps for especially like the Switch OLED going up $50.
Mhm.
That's pretty significant. Um,
Especially for a previous generation thing. And I think
mhm.
the Switch 2 isn't going to jump because they already factored that into the price, which is why the Switch 2 is $500,
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
price as a PlayStation.
Right, right. And they're like, okay, we'll just get it. Which means that, well, I was going to say, if things settle down tariff wise, they could drop the price probably pretty quick and people would be happy. Then they'll sell a shit ton more. But I, who the fuck knows with what's going on there. But yeah, pretty crazy price jump for some of those things.
Yippee.
Yep. So exciting. And then we got the announcement from Square Enix that they're going to be doing an Octopath Traveler 0 for Nintendo Switch and Switch 2. It's a new entry into the series. It'll be coming to all platforms, of course. But it was first announced in a Nintendo partner showcase that they had. I want to say it was earlier this week. I think it was on the 31st was the Nintendo partner showcase. Everybody thought like Silk Song would be there or whatever.
Of course.
But yeah, the game is going to come out in December 4th. So I know Octopath Traveler is like a series that people really like, especially when the first one came out on the Switch. People enjoyed it, and then I know people enjoyed the second game as well. So it's a franchise that seems to be doing well enough to keep going. So excited for those fans. Then we have the release date for Chronos: The New Dawn. This is from Bloober Team. It's their horror game. They announced it is going to come out on the Switch too. That was part of the Nintendo Switch showcase, partner showcase. But it will come out September 5th, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping it does well. Could be fun. And then,
Are you hoping, or are you going to save it for Halloween this year? Or are you going to play right when it comes out?
I mean, well, the problem is like they delayed Dying Light the Beast out of August. I'm like, well, if it comes, I gotta like go back and look again at the release date for Dying Light because I want to play that. And then what I could probably do is play Dying Light first, then depending on what's going on, save and go back and do this game for like Halloween. It could be a fun time or something. But hold on one second. Okay, but yeah, I'll probably just save the one for probably if depending on I gotta see what else also. Because I guess if let's see, let's just look it up now. There's no point in waiting. Let's see when Dying Light got delayed too. Dying Light the Beast delayed because it got delayed 4 weeks.
My dilemma is that like usually I don't have a new horror game to play around Halloween because they usually release the horror games like in November for some reason or Christmas. So I'm like tempted to just wait a month to play it at the appropriate time.
Yeah, because the one game got delayed too. Oh man, I'm blanking on the name of it now. So the Dark Pictures anthology game
Mm-hmm.
that got delayed. What was it called? Game delayed. I'm totally blanking on Directive 8020. It got delayed to the first half. That was originally supposed to come out at some point this year. We figured maybe Halloween-ish. But that got delayed to first half of 2026. So I was hoping like that could have been a good Halloween game. But yeah, Dying Light got delayed to September. Oops, I want to say September 15th. And so like, okay, well, if that got pushed September 19th, sorry, and this comes out on yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I'll find out what happens. I'm sure I'll 2 weeks later, so that could be enough time to beat it. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Got this whole month to worry about. But yeah, I am looking forward. I'm hoping it's pretty good. But keep it with Bloober Team. I did see that the writer and producer for It and Annabelle, Gary Doberman, apparently secured the rights to bring any of, well, at least for the screen rights for the medium from Bloober Team, and I'm assuming probably anything they do in the future as well. So it sounds like they want to bring the medium to the big screen, which I think could work considering it'd be very Stranger Things, right? Like the upside down and whatnot, and so
Mhm.
those kind of vibes could really work. It'd just make it scarier. Like I could see that game working. I enjoyed the game, even though like that mechanic was a lot of fun, but like the game was good. I thought like it was a solid 7.
Was that the detective one where you went back and forth in different worlds to like investigate? I'm blanking on what it actually was.
You're not a detective, but you do the thing where like you switch, kind of like. Did you ever play Titanfall 2?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know that one level where like you're jumping back and forth between time on the fly, and like certain parts of the level will be destroyed or intact depending on which version you're in. Like you're doing some of that where it's
But
like,
it wasn't an investigation game.
well,
What
you
was
were
like
like
the style?
I mean, you were kind of like trying to figure out what's going on. Like you were doing something. You weren't like a detective. Like you were, I think, if I remember, the main character was an orphan. Like I think her sister died in a fire. And then like she was an orphan, but she is like a medium, and so she can travel between like the living world and like hell essentially. And which is just like an upside down version of where you're at. So there'd be like some puzzles where you'd have to go between them, and there was Troy Baker was hunting you down as a demon. And like Mr. X style, and you're doing like little puzzles and whatnot and trying to figure out what's going on. But yeah, I think like your adoptive father dies, and like that event that happens like triggers the main character to be like they're having visions of locations, so they go to like this insane asylum uh to figure out what's going on, and that's kind of where the game kicks off, and you find out there's a story. But the mechanic of going back and forth was fun, and the game did have some spooky vibes. But some of the mechanics of like sneaking past the demon could be a little rough. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. It didn't do major numbers or anything, but it could do well on the big screen. But yeah, I'm curious if they'll do like if Chronos New Dawn does well, maybe they can do something with that. So we'll see. And then we also have rumors that we talked about. There was rumors previously that Starfield will come to PS5 alongside the next expansion, and those rumors persist, saying that it'll be in spring 2026 alongside the expansion that's planned for there. So a lot of rumors for that. I'm curious how much how well it'll do. I feel like a lot of the Xbox games that end up releasing on PlayStation do sell pretty well and like top
I
some
mean,
of the
would
charts.
would you even play it at this point though? Because I feel like I genuinely, it's been so long and I've heard so much about it, and it only seems like very average. I don't know if I would ever actually play it at this point.
I like if I had Game Pass, like at this point, I feel like okay, there's been so many updates to the game, maps especially, that maybe it could be interesting, even though I know like major things about it already. Uh, Especially like the way that NG Plus works, yada yada, this and that. It could be interesting to play way later as an experiment. Like if I had it to like add on the Steam wish list, or it was on a PlayStation discount for a sale or something like super cheap, I could see like out of curiosity, giving it a go and trying it well after the fact, so I don't have to worry about all the nonsense bugs. Like it could be like see if I would have fun with it. That could be interesting. But yeah, I wouldn't try it at full price, but I would be interested to try if it was like $5 or something. So
Yeah, I
whatever's
mean,
up.
if it's $5, I'll try. It just is like, it was more of it's kind of awkward timing because I don't feel like it's going to get a huge reception unless the big caveat of like, if the DLC or whatever is phenomenal and it really like starts up conversation again, then yeah, sure. But like if it's just average DLC, I just don't really envision many people actually going to play it.
Yeah, but I think the one of the previous DLCs they had did have good reception. And then there was one that was kind of like, yeah, it was okay. But yeah, I'd be, I'd be curious to, like I said, just to give it a shot and to have my own opinion on it. Granted, it will be different than the opinion of a launch version of the game versus the state of the game as it is now. But I would like to give it a shot and try. Just be like, okay, let's see, because there were people who played at the time who I listened to who were like they enjoyed their time with it, even though they understood like it's one of the games where, like, I understand why people might not like this. Like I understand why people wouldn't like Death Stranding. Like I get it. I understand completely why you don't like this game. And like this could be Death Stranding, where like, oh, I really enjoy this game. Like but yeah, just it could be interesting and fun to play. I almost was gonna get it as part. I think because I know they did that thing where they changed Game Pass, where a lot of their new releases weren't going to be on Game Pass day one unless you had like the top tier of Game Pass. So maybe I could do like Game Pass. That would be the cheapest way, and then play it there. Although I think if you do Game Pass, then you have to have the Microsoft Store version of the game. And I think the Game Pass version you can't mod, or there was some game they had that was a Bethesda game where like if you had the Microsoft Store version, you couldn't mod it. Uh, and only that version was available as the Game Pass version, which makes sense because it's Game Pass. You can't get the Steam version. So I'd have to double check that because I'd probably want to play it with I'd see like, okay, what are the new quality of life mods, not just a let's give everybody big butts mod, which was super popular with that game. I used to get fed the YouTube videos of like top mods for July, and it was like 9 out of 10 were just gooner motherfuckers. So like, okay, you gotta.
Of course, like that's because those are the top mods.
Yep. It's like, oh, you want your loading screens to be pinups? Let's space theme pinups. Let's do it. I'm like, I guess they're loading screens. Who gives a shit? But and there's lots of them in that game, right? So like, I guess make it more palatable, I suppose. But yeah, everything else was like, all right, come on, give me some
I'm sure
practical.
there's a way to mod the Game Pass versions because at least when I use Game Pass on PC before, it's just like through the Xbox app, which may be like a circular way of them installing the Microsoft version. But I mean, if you use like Nexus mods or something like that, they have their own like mod installer manager thing. I'm sure you'd be able to use that with that version of the game. I don't think it super matter. I'm not sure how the Game Pass works anymore. I haven't used it in a long time.
Yeah, I think there's like you have to do way more steps to mod the Game Pass version of Starfield on PC versus like it's not just download Nexus mods, have Vortex, all that stuff. That's like super easy, which is why I modded stuff like Fallout 4 on Steam. It's like it's omega simple. Like, but this, if you do it through Game Pass, there's like detailed steps of you need to do X, Y, Z. And I'm like, that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, I don't got time for that. Like I'm sure it's not complicated, but I'm like, if it's not as easy as just download off Nexus mods, like for other games, I'm like, I'm not gonna waste I don't want to go into a folder, change some file to be this, change the INI files, change it to that. I don't have time for that. I don't want to do it. Just make it easy. So, but yeah. Yeah, other than that, not much else for news. I did see what I shared in Discord is funny that Sony's suing Tencent for that Horizon Zero Dawn knockoff game.
Mhm.
Light of Motoram, whatever they got announced like 8 months ago or something like that. I remember when I saw it, I'm like, this is just Horizon. Like everybody who saw it said this is just Horizon. What's crazy about that game is that game's an MMO, but it is not. The trailer is not in any way made to make it look like an MMO. Like it is just. Remember when we talked about that one game?
I mean, hold on. Do you think the trailer is actually representative of the game, though? It's just a rip-off game. Like,
even even if it's not like you don't, it's more like Monster or Wild. You're not like doing that same kind of combat as you do in Horizon. It's like okay, it's clearly heavily pulling from the art style of Horizon, right? Like there's no denying that. And even the character in the trailer has red hair to be kind of like Aloy, but it's an MMO. Like someone said in a podcast, they're like, you can customize your characters in the MMOs. Like, so they purposely chose a character to kind of represent Aloy in the trailer, but the trailer's not made in any way to be like this is a knockoff Horizon MMO, which is they were apparently working on at 1.2, which is really funny. Um, it's like you purposely did it this way, just like that game we talked about a while ago, the zombie one that like was a total scam. Uh, was it day zero or something like that, or day one? I forget what it was called. Where like it had promise when it was first announced, but then the trailers they released were just shot for shot stolen from like Call of Duty and some other stuff. Like the trailers, they ripped off other trailers to make their trailer. And they got called out for it. And like you look at it's like, okay, this is just done in a way to make it look like Horizon. So we'll see what happens. But the problem is like even if they sue them, it just stops the sale in the US. Like they're still just gonna sell it in China. So it's like they got a whole market there who, whatever. That's it's not gonna stop them from doing it there. So we'll see. But I just thought it was funny that it took them a while. I wonder too was one of the things like obviously you have to build the case. It's like, okay, let's look at what they're doing, yada yada. Then it's probably like, okay, maybe it's like a wait and see approach. Like we don't just want to hit them right away. We want to see if they're actually going to spend development time on this game. And then if they stick with it, we'll sue them. Because obviously like they put out a trailer, it's like, oh, but they have no intent to actually make the game. They're just putting out a fake, let's say fake trailer. I don't know why you would do that, but you got to wait until to see if they're actually going to complete it before you make the steps. But who knows? We'll see. I mean, it's clearly just Horizon, which is hilarious.
yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised by it at all. I'm surprised it took so long.
Yeah, same. Last thing we had this week was so they announced Battlefield 6 officially. They showed off the single player trailer. Was it on Monday? No, it was the end of last week. So I think that's what we talked about then on the podcast that got announced. Then they had a big multiplayer showcase at the I want to say Thursday. And yeah, I'm super excited. Like it looks really good. They showed a ton of gameplay. Apparently they've been play testing with like streamers and people who are like Battlefield people for like 1.5 years. There's this one guy, Broken Machine. He's a UK streamer. I watch a lot of his content. He plays a ton of Battlefield. And he also plays Warzone, but like Battlefield is one of the big things that I followed him for. And they had like Westy, like Level Cap, like all these people who were big Battlefield 3 streamers, and they've been helping them. It's a lot like Apex Legends. It reminds me of that, where like they had streamers play that game for like forever and to balance it, and then they just launched it. And this game comes out in October 10th is when Battlefield 6 comes out. And yeah, it looks really good. Their return to form looks like Battlefield 3, 4 ish. And yeah, I'm loving the way It looks like Battlefield, and I'm excited because 2042 was not great at launch. It eventually got to a decent position later, but that was like too long after the game had come out to even go back to. And I was like, I'm not going to go back to this game. So I'm really excited to get back into Battlefield at launch, and then and they're gonna have some play tests this coming weekend. Like I think the next 3 weekends are play tests. I think this one is a closed one on the 8th, 9th, or 8th through 10th rather. And then I think the next 2 are open betas, hopefully not just on PC. But yeah, everything they showed, I watched the live stream of it. They were like bouncing back and forth, and you can watch like they had like 200 streamers there who were live streaming it from the event, playing it, and it looked real good. There was no like major issues. Like there was some like technical stuff as far as setting up some streamers and whatnot, this and that. But as far as the game goes, and granted they're not playing online on an active server, it is closed servers, so it's like you're not gonna have major issues there. But yeah, I think if they can not have major server issues at launch, which let's be honest is kind of tough for any multiplayer game that's
Good luck.
highly anticipated. Yeah, I feel like they could be in a great place to be back to where they were, and I'm so excited for it.
I would love for them to become relevant again because I always enjoyed the Battlefield games, and yeah, all for it.
Yeah, and what I love too is that the one big tweak they did do is that they combined the medic class and the support class into one, just called support. I'm like, oh, that's so good because I always played medic and I didn't play support a whole lot, but now I could just throw down a pack that not only heals but also replenishes ammo. I'm like, it's like the ultimate class. I'm like, this is so good. Plus, I could still do defib revives to get people up faster. And they added drag revives in the game, which is great, which is something that BattleBit did. And BattleBit was like a game that people loved and felt like more like Battlefield than Battlefield had been for years. So I'm super excited for Battlefield 6. I'm hoping I could play in one of the. Typically, I'm not one for playing closed betas for multiplayer games. Usually, I'll do them for like online co-ops or like other things as well. But for Battlefield, I'll do that. Like I did the open beta for 2042 and played that, and then that's how I realized like, oh, it's not quite there. And then of course it didn't launch in that good of a spot, anyways. But if I can play this, I'll be like, yeah, I'll play this, give it a shot, run around, have some fun. And they added like their own. They brought back Portal from 2042, but it's more like Forge from Halo. So it's like that could be really dope. And then they're bringing back Firestorm from Battlefield 5, which is kind of nuts. Like it, because that was like one that was like quietly a decent battle royale, but they're having like if they totally rework it, like it could be that could be fun. And maybe I'll play a battle royale again. I haven't played battle royales in years, so it could be interesting to go back and play a new one set in a modern day Battlefield game. So that could be fun. But yeah, I'm super looking forward to Battlefield 6. They look to be in a great place, and that'd be nice for that team. But yeah, other than that, yeah, not a whole lot. I know I saw someone. I guess I don't know where they were talking to Kojima, but someone like asked him if he was going to play Metal Gear Solid Delta. It's like, no, he's not going to play it. And then he said himself
Don't
like,
ask him that.
yeah, I don't know why you would ask him that. It was weird. Like he's not going to play it. But yeah, I thought that was a weird question to ask. But yeah, that's it for the news. Let's go ahead and move on to what we've been playing. Who was missing from? Were you here last week, Isley?
No, and I'm still playing the same game, so it's really easy.
All right, what have you been playing?
I've still been playing through Subnautica. So I remember like generally how the story goes and what the plot points are. I just don't quite remember how you go from like A to B and B to C. So I'll just do spoilers because if you haven't played Subnautica yet, you really should just turn this off and go play it. But like I remember all the alien containment facilities. I remember that there's some order of like having to go deeper to find them. I just don't remember like which ones you go to first and things like that. So like I found some of them, but then I don't have the actual technology to access them. And it's like I kind of remember where things are and how to get there, but I've had to find entrances and things again. So like I remember that the Lost River existed, but I couldn't remember where the entrance was. Like I remember the zone. I just had to explore for a while to actually find them. And then, of course, I got lost in the Lost River, which was kind of fun and spooky. And I'm playing on hardcore, so getting lost down there with the freaking ghost Leviathan, and I had my Cyclops. And then I took my Cyclops down into the Lost River, got it stuck in a bunch of trees, and then a ghost Leviathan's attacking me.
No.
I was like, oh, this is the end of it. But I fortunately survived. I had to abandon my Cyclops like power it off, and then while it was powered off, it ran out of power. So I had to swim out of my Cyclops, get the stuff to make a power cell. Then I came back to make the power cell and was like, oh fuck, I can't make a power cell. There's no power on the Cyclops. This was pointless endeavor. So I ended up swapping. I realized my Seamoth was in there, and I swapped the power cells from Seamoth to Cyclops for like the tiny little burst in order to make a new power cell, swap them out, and then get the Cyclops the hell out of there. And somehow I survived. But I've gotten to the point where like I've got my 2 bases set up. I have all of the vehicles. I kind of just have to. I can't remember how you progress from like exploration to the like infection storyline. Like I've scanned myself. I know I'm infected, but right now I'm at the point in the game where like I've built my bases. I have all the technology. I have most of the modules. I know where most of the things are, but I need to trigger that freaking like infection storyline. And I think I need to just build the Neptune platform first before it starts. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's been fun.
Did you? So you've self-scanned yourself to know that you're infected, but have you
Yeah.
gone to the machine and have it stab you?
Yes.
Okay, because that kicks off the infection is when it stabs you and says you can't deactivate the orbital defense system.
Right, while you're
Until you-
infected. So I did do that one where like I got infected, know I'm infected, and know I need to cure my infection, and just don't spoil because I'm still exploring. But it's like the thing I can't remember is how I start synthesizing the cure. Like I remember the cure. I remember how you put together the ingredients and the involvement with the alien storyline. I just don't remember how to get there. So that's been kind of fun. So I'm
You've
kind of
had
like
the visions at least.
I have not had visions.
Okay.
So yeah, that's where I remember that. I just haven't had them yet. So this is where I can't quite remember how the game progresses, which has honestly made it fun. I hear something dinging in the background, but it's honestly made it fun to like go back and not remember all of these details.
Okay. I then I'll just leave it because I know the things that like the mechanically what triggers progression.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'll
just leave it because that's a game that's best played when you like can't remember everything, which has been fun. The only like pet peeve I have in that game, which I'd forgotten about, is that with base building, the walls don't block light. So if you like park your Cyclops or something outside of your base, the lights shine through the base, and it just like blinds you. And I guess I wish they had patched that, but they have not yet.
Yeah, that's funny.
The walls made of glass, like
The walls just don't block light. Like I guess they thought like, you know, light sources are never going to be a problem in a game that's set underwater and people are building in pitch black. So maybe they just like the text. I don't know. The textures aren't solid in terms of blocking ambient light.
Yeah.
So if you build in a bright spot, then it just blinds you because it's like the game doesn't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah, it's a fun game though. Good times. I mean, was hoping that the second one would have the early access this year, but with all that shake-up stuff, it's not
Yeah.
until next year. So,
Which is super weird because the more I read about it, the more I'm like, there's definitely fishy shit going on here.
Mm-hmm.
but and at some point you got to get goddamn Sons of the Forest on your laptop so you can play that, man. Go back and replay that game with you. But what have you been playing, Zai?
Ragnarok.
Just Ragnarok.
Yeah, completely hyper focused. I got Michael to play it too, so now we're both playing Ragnarok. But this coming week on Tuesday is the new Final Fantasy 14 patch, the major patch, 7.3, I think. I can't remember. I keep getting the numbers confused between Final Fantasy 14 and Honkai Star Rail, which is also having a major patch soon. So this next week, I'm probably going to be playing a lot of 14, getting my gear caught up and stuff, because they're launching the second part of the Vanadil raid, and we're going to do that on Saturday with a bunch of friends again. So I need to
Nice.
get my gear's probably caught up because I have my relic done and I did a bunch of that stuff. But I need to make some money so that I can buy crafted gear for Michael because he doesn't play. So
Yeah.
but we'll do, because I'll probably be doing that, playing through the story and the stuff that they added and getting that ready, and then we'll do that on Saturday. And then I have to double check when the patch is for Star Rail or if it's already out. Because I watched the new trailer for it and there's like a really cool new design for Dan Heng, and I was like, oh, if he's a new 5-star character, I'm gonna have to farm a lot of jade because I spent all of my jade on getting Fine on. I might have to spend money. We'll see.
Yeah. fun time at least.
Damn gotcha games.
Yeah, I saw like a report. I forget what it was, like the revenue that gotcha games have made, and like I think it was year to date for 2025, and that shit was insane. It
It's
was so much money.
it's disgusting, and I know that a lot of it is like it's based on, whales. They spend a
Mm-hmm.
ludicrous amount of money, whether they can actually afford it or not. And, just like an average person, I mean, me for Star Rail, when I'm really, really playing it consistently, I buy their monthly pass thing, which gives you a certain amount of resources every day for like 30 days. It's like $5 or $6 or something
Yeah.
like that. And then one time I bought the like upgraded, I don't know, battle pass thing. I forget what it's called. So I could get a special like light cone card thing from it. That was like $10, I think. So it's like I really haven't spent that much, and I imagine a lot of people don't really spend that much. They maybe buy like a pack of jade every now and then when there's a character they really want, but just like the overall income is absolutely disgusting. And it's like I don't this is really the only gotcha game I play, and I play it pretty much free to play, I would say. Just with like the minimal money that I do spend. I don't pay for the thing every month. And it's just like my guilty pleasure, I guess, because
Mm-hmm.
gotcha games are so predatory and disgusting. But it's like
Yeah.
if Hoyo would just make a game, like a single player game, and or even like I don't like an MMO or a multiplayer game or like anything, I think it would just draw in just as much money because they make good games. And at least for Star Rail, the story's really good and it's very well done and it's very intriguing, and the game itself really doesn't revolve around the gotcha mechanics in any way. But it's also like they develop the characters so well that when they do release a new character you have to pull for, it's like, oh, I like that character in the story. I bet they're fun and I want them in my party. So like that's how they draw it in. That's how they stole all of my jade trying to get Finon. So just like I feel very conflicted about it. It's like I love this game and it's so good. I just wish I could play the characters and not have to like draw for them. Just make a
Yeah.
video game, Hoyo, please. Don't make
Mhm.
gotchas anymore. But I know they won't because God, they make bank on it. Very torn
Yeah.
about it. I really want them to just make a game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Is that
mean, the fact that it's a gotcha game doesn't mean it's a bad game. Like, they're
Exactly.
designed to be entertaining for a reason. Like, they are designed to work. They're just maybe have a bit more like research behind the manipulation mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
yeah? What's that one game that came out? It was Infinity Nikki, where
Yeah.
like the dress one, where it launched and, like it was okay, but now it's just fully gotcha or whatever.
Yeah, they basically destroyed their game because
Yeah.
it was billed as like it's an open world multiplayer cozy game. So it's like there's a little bit of combat to it, but mostly it's like dressing up your character, which is where the gotcha element comes into. And like, but there's also like bug catching and farming and fishing and like exploring and stuff like that. That's how it was billed. And then they just like I don't know what happened exactly, but they did an update and everybody was like, you've destroyed this game. It's not only like unplayable as like a free player kind of game, but it's
Hmm.
also a piece of shit now and it doesn't run on anything.
Yeah.
Like that's very obviously a cash grab type of game, which it seemed anyway, because it's like, well, you're making this like dress up game and all of the dress up elements are gotcha, so that kind of sucks. But they gave you a lot of like resources to do free pull and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And then they just completely destroyed it. Whereas like I haven't really seen that with Hoyo games because they have such like a good history of the games. The For me at least, the Hoyo games are the gotcha element is just like a unfortunate side effect of type of game that it is. So it's like you're playing the game and you're going through the story and you're meeting characters and it's just like this really well fleshed out like world and actual like story and everything and progression, and then you get to the gotcha element and you're just like, oh fuck, that's right, oh well, like you can do free to play, you just have to work for it kind of thing. So
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Tough balance. I feel like to get there. But yeah, I haven't played too much. Chipping away doing side stuff in Death Stranding because I'm at a part where I think there's gonna be like a big major event. So I'm like I just do like little side stuff for other locations, getting stars up and whatnot. And then there was a single player play test for a game called StarRupture that I've been following on Steam. It's kind of like I guess I'd call it a first person Factorio, where it's more like I guess Satisfactory. You land on a planet, you're trying to build up, set up stuff, yada yada. But there's also a lot more like alien bugs in life that attack you, kind of like Factorio, which is I was like, oh man, I would love like a first person Factorio in the style of Satisfactory, because like there are
Mhm.
some creatures in Satisfactory, but it's not attacking you like it does in Factorio. So I was like, oh, this could be really cool. So they had like a single player play test for it. I hopped in, tried it out. I'm like, okay, this is very Satisfactory style. So I only played a little bit of it. They've extended it to like tomorrow, the play test, but I'll probably wait until it's a little more set up to really like get going, because that's a game like it. Once I play enough, I'm like, okay, I see what this is. It is exactly what I want it to be. So I'll probably wait for the full game. And then I played a demo for a game called Demon Bluff. It's like social deduction game, but it's single player. There's like these decks of cards are like the villagers for a town, and you're trying to figure out who's a demon and like who's a minion for the demons, and like each of the cards will say like different
I
things.
I'm curious what you thought of that game, because I formed opinions just from watching you play it. So I
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed I didn't play it till I played it a little bit. When I first downloaded, I played a little bit of it, got through like the tutorial bit. It was like super easy. And then I played a little more on stream, where it's like, okay, they added some more cards that really like, the bigger your deck gets as you go along, the more difficult it can be. Cause then it's like, okay, the, uh, the card types you get, the things you can draw, the way certain mechanics work, it's like, okay, now you have to do a little more deduction, where it's like, once I started getting the cards where the demons and whatnot could imitate other characters, and even though they're imitating them, they don't necessarily always lie. They still like do the mechanic. So then it becomes a like whatever that thing is. It's like, oh, one that I think it's the gem person, like they can tell if someone's telling the truth or lying. And so it's like if the demon is the gem person, they'll be like, "Oh, number 4 is telling the truth." But then if number 4 is a demon, you're like, "Okay, it's clearly someone disguising themselves, so it's the gem person." They called out their own person, because I through other means I deduced the one thing. They did have quite a few patches in the game for this close. They did a disguise system balance on the 31st. So I haven't played since this, but basically they improved the disguising character should feel more balanced now. Situations where all evil disguise the same character should rarely happen. So I did experience that a lot, where it's like a lot of the disguises they would all be like the same character, which made it kind of hard to be like, okay, clearly some of you are lying, because my deck only has so many of these cards. So I should know like you shouldn't have like 5 of the same card, because that's not how the deck works. You should have more unique villagers in that case. I was like, okay, clearly some of you are lying, but if you kill too many of your villagers by mistake, you lose. You lose your run. They're like, oh, the Empress can no longer point at herself. I'm like, well, that's good. So they did some changes there. Yeah, and it says here it goes evils will disguise as outcasts more often. Yeah, so I guess they weren't disguising as there's like outcast characters who aren't necessarily bad, but they usually have some interesting quirks about them that can make them unique if you draw them in that particular deck. So yeah, there was some balances. Yeah, so fix an issue with Ba and Counselor, adding duplicate cards to the deck, fix the bug causing. Okay, yeah, blah blah blah. Blah. So yeah, it looks like they did have some balancing, but overall, I like the idea of the game, because it's like, okay, you have this one guy as the executioner, and you can pick him to be like, click on a character. If that character is evil, I will kill them. So it's kind of like, ooh, I can figure it out and like click on someone. It's like, okay, if they're evil, he can see through the disguise. And he's like, oh, I can't kill them. So I'm like, oh, okay, so they were a normal villager. But then it's like, if the demon is disguising themselves as the executioner, it's like the reason they couldn't do it is because they were lying. They was like, oh, I can't do it to that person. It's like, no, you're the demon. But it can be pretty tough, and of course, when you're streaming, you lose like a certain percentage of your deductions in your reading chat and all that stuff. But it's a fun little game. Like I said, it's just in demo form right now. I know and Nelson playing, but I haven't been watching him play it, because I was like, I want to play the game on my own first, and then maybe go back and I can watch him go through it, because I watched a little bit. I was like, okay, he's clearly not paying attention to the rules of these characters. Uh, but it's a fun little game, and there's like it does become very much you're trying to deduce like, okay, if this person is saying these people are good, but this person's saying this. It's like, okay, well, they can't all be okay. Let's try to reverse engineer this to figure out who could be lying. And you kind of get away with accidentally killing, a villager depending on how big the group is. But yeah, there's some fun little mechanics. I enjoy it. Again, it's just in demo form, so I'm sure there's probably a lot of balancing they can do before the game actually launches. I don't know when the game is officially going to launch, but some point in Q1 2026 they say. But yeah, it's a fun little game. I like it. It's a, like I said, single player social deduction roguelike. It's fun. You were saying, Isley?
Oh yeah, so my kind of thought watching it was like it feels like it has a lot of potential, but I was curious how you felt about like the actual kind of deck building aspects, because it seemed, when I started watching you play, it seemed like it was way too simple, and I wasn't sure if you were in like early levels or how it was playing. It just seemed like it was, I don't know, a social deduction game where you had to go through extreme. You were playing extremely quickly, like each round was like a minute or something. Um, that I was trying to figure out whether it was too simple or like too fast paced.
No, it must more like because I played a little bit. I knew the mechanics because it's not that many people at the start, and your deck grows over time. So you will get like as you go through, like it's like the first part of the run is what I was doing. It's like, okay, I got through the tutorial. Now it's like this is like the first. You have to make it so many rounds. I think 7 days before you move on like to the next tier. So it's like it was always like day 6 or whatever. I'd end up failing, or unless I was like reading chat and I clicked on the wrong person or something because I was like, damn, I meant to do this. Or like when they introduce the character that can disguise, but when they disguise themselves as good people, like really throws me off. And I'm like, oh no. And I have to really like focus on it. Like instead of the game that if I was not streaming it, it'd be even faster. But it does get more complicated. And then, like I said, more stuff gets added to your deck. More and there's some interesting mechanics. Like there's a witch character. Like if the witch is in your deck, if you happen to get it on that particular run, because again, it's a roguelike, so you might not always get the witch. It's like the last card can't be flipped over. That can always make it really tricky. It's like, okay, there's the witch is in the deck, so she could be any of the cards, disguised as them. But I also can't see the last card now. So it's like sometimes I'll use the judge or the executioner on that last card to be like, tell me if this is a good person or not. As long as the judge or the executioner aren't the evils that are disguising themselves. But no, it's a fun little game. Like I said, it should. I feel like it should be pretty simple from the start until you get going. You don't want to make people too frustrated, from the jump. So it's like, yeah, it'll definitely go like deeper and deeper, and your deck gets bigger, and you can like remove through some factions. You can remove cards or add cards as you keep going. So there's definitely some mechanics there that you can kind of make the roguelike element of it either be kind of have a little bit of control as you go through. So it's fun. But yeah, when you have like 8 cards on the field, you get to choose. And it's like, oh no, I gotta. This one's like, oh, the evils are counterclockwise. Oh, they're 3 away, and the one minion is 1 away from the evil, and this. And I'm like, okay. And I thank God for the tag feature, so you can be like, I suspect this is like Minesweeper. Like I think it's this one. I think it's this one. But I'm enjoying it. Again, it's just a simple little game with cute little cards and whatnot. So it's like a little fun social deduction game. But yeah, other than that, I haven't played a whole lot else. Just sometimes I'll play Crazy Zone off stream, play a little bit Icarus, But yeah, I was looking forward to Dying Light the Beast, but like I said, that got delayed for weeks, so can't play that. Been just doing a lot of Warhammer, putting stuff together, doing some painting, some of that when I'm not gaming. So,
Are you making your own minis yet?
no, I'm not making my own minis.
You buy that 3D printer yet?
No, yeah. I kept getting fed 3D printers, and I was like, well, let's research FDM and resin printers and see what the difference is and what are the benefits. And no, I have enough miniatures that I got to put together. And I finally got in the Death Leaper that I ordered like a month ago. And so I got to put that together. But I got so much I got to paint. It's like that's why I was like, okay, let's just start painting. So I've been doing a squad of Space Marine Terminators, doing them slowly. I'm almost done. I just got to finish painting the helmets and then some minor pieces, and then go back and like clean up any spots that I like, had paint get where it shouldn't be. But I've been doing that bit by bit. And then I'll probably do like a small batch of Tyranids and then do another batch of Space Marines and then Tyranids and kind of bounce back and forth. So that's been fun. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I said, we'll see. I'm wondering when's Gamescom? Is Gamescom in September? Gamescom 2025. So I was going to say the next big event is, oh no, Gamescom is in, let's see, the 20th through 24th of August. That's later this month is Gamescom. So I'm curious what'll be there. That'll be the next big gaming event that hopefully will. I mean, it probably won't get anything new. Usually, Gamescom's like, hey, here's a second trailer for this game, or here's a more info about this game, or release dates. It's usually not new stuff typically, so that'll be in 2 weeks. But all right, well, I guess we can go ahead and wrap it up there. So, thank you for tuning in. Listen, thank you, Izzy, thank you, Zyra, for joining.
Yep.
And we'll see you all next time.
Later.